Welcome to the Glitch Report, your daily marketing botcast. Brought to you by Leadpages. Here are our hosts, Kai and Luna.
We got a couple of interesting things to cover today. First, we're going to be talking about Google Search Console and a new feature they rolled out.
Right.
We'll also touch on holiday SMS strategies, Black Friday, Cyber Monday just around the corner.
Yeah.
And then we'll wrap things up by taking a look at some early e-commerce trends. And this is really interesting because sales are already exceeding expectations for the entire holiday season, and we haven't even hit Cyber Monday yet.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. It's definitely interesting to watch and see how that plays out.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see what happens over the next few weeks.
Absolutely.
So let's jump right in. Let's start with Google Search Console. Google recently rolled out this recommendations feature, and I'm curious to hear from you. What does this actually mean for people who have websites?
Well, it's kind of like Google finally decided to be a little bit more helpful and actually give some pointers,
Really?
They're offering advice essentially on how to improve your site's visibility in the search results.
Okay, so it's basically like free advice from Google on how to get your website ranking higher.
Exactly. You could think of it that way.
But I imagine with any advice, you got to take it with a grain of salt.
Oh, absolutely. Not every single recommendation is going to be relevant.
Right.
I mean, just imagine you've got, let's say, a news publisher, and they're getting all these recommendations about adding product listings.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense for them, right?
Right. So should someone just log into their search console and blindly implement every recommendation that pops up?
No, I wouldn't say that. It's really all about being discerning and thinking about what actually makes sense for your website. What are your goals? Who is your target audience?
So, for instance, if you're running a local bakery, a recommendation to really optimize your Google business profile, that could be super valuable.
Absolutely.
But if they're telling you to set up a whole e-commerce platform and all you do is in-store sales, that's not really going to help you.
Probably not the best use of your time.
Okay, so you got to think about what makes sense for your specific business and your goals.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about holiday SMS strategies. Black Friday. Cyber Monday's coming up.
Yeah.
And it seems like a lot of brands are already starting to ramp up their text message promotions.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's interesting. We're seeing a lot of brands starting their Black Friday, Cyber Monday promotions earlier this year. Even going back into mid-November,
So what's the thinking behind that?
Well, Adam Turner, who's the CEO of Postscript, which is an SMS marketing platform, he's suggesting that, starting these campaigns earlier in November can be good for both the brands and the consumers.
Okay. But is it actually good for consumers? I mean, does that just mean we're getting bombarded with sales and promotions even earlier than usual?
That's a fair point, and I think that's something that, remains to be seen. But it could be that, starting earlier gives people more time to plan and budget and maybe avoid some of that last minute shopping frenzy.
Okay.
But the brands are definitely seeing some success with this. For example, Bare Performance Nutrition, they made $1 million from just a single promotional text message.
Wow.
In mid-November.
$1 million from one text message.
One text message.
Yeah. Okay, so clearly this can work. So how can other brands kind of replicate that success? What makes a good holiday text message? Right.
Well, Turner has a few tips. He recommends bundled and tiered discounts to encourage people to, buy more, spend more. He also talks about strategic timing, trying to send messages at times when people aren't being bombarded with a ton of other things.
Right, cut through the clutter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then he also suggests using multimedia, like images or videos, to make your text messages stand out.
That makes sense. So it's not just about, sending a plain text with a discount code. You really got to make it visually appealing too.
Exactly.
So it sounds like brands shouldn't just go all in for Black Friday and Cyber Monday and then go silent for the rest of December.
Right.
They should really be thinking about consistent engagement throughout the whole holiday season.
Yeah, absolutely. Turner's point is that consistent engagement throughout December is key.
Okay.
And it's interesting because unsubscribe rates are actually lower during Black Friday and Cyber Monday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which suggests that people are more receptive to those brand messages during the holidays.
Huh. That's interesting.
So keep those pop-ups on your website active. Yeah.
even after the initial discount periods have ended.
Okay, that's a good tip.
Yeah.
So let's move on to what you mentioned at the beginning about the e-commerce sales that are already kind of blowing everyone's minds.
Right.
Can you give us a little more context on those numbers?
Yeah, so as of November 24th, U.S. e-commerce sales have already hit $77.4 billion.
$77.4 billion.
That's billion with a B. And that's a 9.6% increase compared to last year at the same time.
Okay.
And what's really crazy is that's actually higher than Adobe Analytics' initial forecast for the whole holiday season.
So they thought that that's what we had hit by the end of December.
Yeah, basically.
And we're already there.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
So, I mean, what do you think is driving this huge surge in spending, especially this early?
Well, it's hard to say for sure, but there are a few possibilities.
Okay.
Maybe people are feeling more confident about the economy.
Yeah.
Maybe they're a little bit worried about potential supply chain issues.
Right.
And so they're, shopping earlier to make sure they get what they need.
Yeah. Get ahead of it.
Yeah. And, online shopping is just getting more and more convenient. So.
Yeah. I mean, who wants to go to the mall, right?
Right.
You can just sit on your couch and order everything you need.
Exactly.
Okay. So if 77.4 billion is where we're at now, what's Adobe predicting for the rest of the season? Like, especially for Cyber Week?
Well, they're forecasting that Cyber Week sales will reach $40.6 billion.
20.6
billion, yeah.
Okay, so we're talking serious money here.
Yeah, for sure.
And what are some of the product categories that are performing the best?
Well, some of the top performers are electronics,
Okay.
apparel, groceries, furniture, and cosmetics.
Interesting. I would have thought electronics would be like way up there, but it sounds like it's pretty diversified.
Yeah, it is. I mean, electronics have already seen an 11.4% increase in sales.
Wow, that's a lot. Yeah, reaching 17.7 billion.
Okay.
And apparel is actually not too far behind that. It's up 13.4%, reaching 14.5 billion.
So those discounts are definitely enticing people to spend.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So any last words of advice for people who are trying to navigate all these deals and get the best prices?
Well, discounts are expected to peak during Cyber Week.
Okay.
For example, electronics could see discounts as high as 30% off on Cyber Monday.
Oh, wow.
So, if you're looking to buy any TV or something like that,
Yeah.
it might be worth waiting a few more days.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just do a quick recap of what we covered today.
Okay.
So, Google Search Console. They're offering free advice on how to improve your website's visibility in search.
Right.
But you got to use your judgment and think strategically about which recommendations actually make sense for you.
Absolutely.
Holiday SMS marketing is really heating up. And brands need to be thinking about engaging content and consistent communication throughout the entire month of December.
Yeah.
And then, of course, e-commerce sales are just going crazy.
Yeah.
Shattering expectations. And it seems like it's being driven by a combination of like economic factors and just this overall shift in consumer behavior.
Right.
But I think what all this really points to is this bigger question of how brands are going to have to adapt their marketing strategies in the future.
Yeah. I mean, if holiday shopping keeps evolving at this pace,
Right.
Things are going to look very different in the next couple of years.
That's a great point. So what do you guys think? We would love to hear your thoughts. Share your insights with us on social media. And until next time, happy shopping.
Happy shopping.
And happy marketing.
Happy marketing.
All right, we'll see you next time.